Hello and welcome to this Ossett History podcast on the medieval module Targets for Essays. You need to use this podcast, pausing it at the appropriate points, rewinding wherever you need to help yourself set some targets for the essays that you do. You also need to read your essays really carefully, like I have to do when I'm marking them, and read the essays of others to try to learn and develop your understanding of what's required on this module. This is the number one target. We've not got this yet, and when we do, when this starts to filter through and people have got the idea of paragraph summaries, we're going to see the grades go up and up. The problem is you're not showing the relative importance of factors. So at the end of a paragraph, and we'll come to an example later on in the podcast, you need to show your understanding of how one paragraph, or one factor, should I say, might be more important than another. And what some of you are doing are not linking to the question, not linking the paragraphs. It's just like you're doing standalone essays, 3 different standalone essays, with no flow in there. So you can see an example of here, a really strong, impressive ending to a paragraph, but there's no linking to anything else written in the essay. Target 2 is the second biggest cause of dropped marks, and this largely happened on question 2. How many of you just quite simply listed the different claims to the throne of the 4 different claimants to the throne? Well, that wasn't the question. The question was assess reasons for the succession crisis. So what you've done is you've gone, it's about the succession crisis. Right, I know all about the different claims to the throne, and just listed them. It's the equivalent of somebody saying, how do you get to Ossett Brewery? And you going, well, Ossett Brewery has been brewing beer for over 100 years now. They brew lots of different types. The person will still be stood there thinking, I wanted to know how to get there, not the history of it. You need to make sure you think about the question, what it's asking you, and focus on the demands of the question, not just regurgitate things that you might have learnt in class. You need to have a bit more dynamism about you. What you can see below is a rare example from the mocks of somebody who actually answered the question in front of them instead of the question that they wanted to land in front of them. So I'd suggest pausing and having a little read of this answer and comparing it to your answer and seeing if you can spot how they've answered the question when perhaps you've missed it a little bit. Target 3 kind of ties in with the whole paragraph summary theme. There will be key words in the question like causes of succession crisis or dealings with the Godwins. Little phrases, little words like that need to be referred back to at the start and the end of paragraphs. Here you can see this person referring back to the question that's been set at the end of their paragraph, and there's another example just about to come up on the screen of somebody starting their answer by focusing on exactly what the question is asking for. Have you done that at the start and end of your paragraphs? If not, that's the target you should give yourself. Now the next target is very much linked to target 1 about the paragraph summaries. We keep going on about that because this is where we're dropping massive marks. It's stopping people from getting A grades. I've done an example for you because not really anybody successfully showed the relative importance of different factors in their essay. If you can do this, it brings a theme through your essay. It stops you appearing to write 3 different essays in one, and it helps your argument to develop through to your conclusion. So I'd suggest pausing this and having a little read and thinking how you could have used paragraph summaries better to show your argument. Don't worry too much about this though, because we're going to spend a lot of time trying to practice paragraph summaries between now and the exam, because I think this is our Achilles heel. We'll crack it. This one is a target about introductions, and they're not necessarily going to get you tons of marks introductions, but what they do, I just said do, that's right, you'll probably snigger about that, is this out your stall. They're the first impressions, and first impressions count. What you need to do is impress the examiner with a little bit of knowledge, but also set out your argument, what the different factors you think are important to talk about. You could also question the question a little bit and show off. Show that you're not just rigid and a robot and you've been taught to do things in terms of answer this question this way and this question that way, that you've got some ability to think on your feet. You can see 3 examples on the screen that you can pause at various points of some good introductions. This one's simple and straightforward. It's entirely down to hard work, hard, honest graft. Learn the dates, the laws, the statistics, any lesser known names that other people won't know. You need to make yourself stand out. There are a few examples of people who do have excellent knowledge, but there's lots of examples of people who have kind of got fairly good knowledge. It's only through memorising that this is going to improve. And you can see an example of somebody who's got some decent knowledge here to know what I mean, what I'm talking about. And last but by no means least, a conclusion needs to be firm, hard-hitting, and perhaps have a little wow factor element. You're going to see an example in a minute of somebody who does that, and pause it and have a little read and see how that's a really firm, well-argued conclusion that's got some impressive stuff in there, like a good bit of historical terminology. Conclusions are so important that it can make a difference of an entire grade if you've written it really well. So it's worth getting on top of this.